Nope. Unfortunately, this isn't clickbait. You remember Lil Tay? Yeah, you remember her? The one who loved to flex her money at 9 years old and basically set the internet on fire. She has, in 2025, made an OnlyFans account the day she turned 18. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Unlucky Block, where I find things digital media to complain about. Okay, let's take a step back. The whole reason I started the Unlucky Block was just in case there was something on the internet that needed a good pointing and laughing, and we could do that here on the Unlucky Block. I did, however, genuinely debate whether or not to make this episode just because of how disturbing, like genuinely disturbing the topic is. I did come to the conclusion, though, that if I can't talk about this on the Unlucky Block, then what is it even for? In case some of you need an internet lore recap since it has been a while, Lil Tay was the internet's self-proclaimed youngest sweatshirt. At age 9, she debuted on the internet. And in case you were wondering, yes, I'm going to put a picture of her at 9 years old on the screen just to display how disgusting this all is. So yes, this is her around her debut. But the story goes is that she started flexing and basically pissed everybody on the internet off, which kind of comes with the territory of making flex content, but a lot of people were inclined to cut her a break because of just how young she was. And anybody who decided to cut her that slack was immediately proven right. Because at some point, she just genuinely disappeared off the platform. And I read up on it, and apparently there was a court case between her father and her mother, where basically her father said that her mom and her brother were playing her up for clout, which, of course, they were. Like, that's not debatable. Lil Tay was very obviously being exploited. Like, I think it's kind of hard to debate that at this point, because this whole persona, she definitely was being exploited in some sense, because, again, she was literally a 9-year-old. But continuing the story, she disappeared off the internet, and in 2023, I think there was a post that just outright proclaimed her death, which was completely untrue, but nobody knew that at the time because she was completely gone off the face of the internet. Now, being completely honest, I'm not going to go into the weeds of the situation because, one, it's not important to why we're here, and two, there were some really fucked up things. Like, yes, her mom and her brother were exploiting her for this whole content thing, but her dad was allegedly abusive, and there was a whole lot there. Again, we're not really going to go into that because that's a whole different can of worms, but for our intents and purposes, know that she disappeared off the internet around 2018. I actually explicitly remember scrolling on Instagram and finding her videos organically because, along with her comeback, she made a whole series of videos explaining each and every rumor that had basically developed while she was gone. I explicitly remember watching those videos, and while it sounds corny, I remember smiling because it was nice to see somebody living through that kind of young YouTube fame. And even though a lot of shit happened to her, she came out on the other end relatively unscathed. It felt like her life was finally on track, and she came back not as Lil Tay, but as a genuine person. So I felt like that was a nice little cherry on top for somebody who I completely forgot about, and I was genuinely wishing her the best. Now the more recap's over, cut to modern day, she's sexualizing herself on the internet and starting an OnlyFans the day she turns 18. And just a little bit of a fast forward here in the movie, it did open to over $1 million of profit. I don't think I need to tell you just how disgusting that is. Lil Tay, who built herself up on the internet as the youngest child influencer, is now an aspiring porn star. So, pardon my French, but I do say that is a bit yucky. And fucked up as well. Okay, to play devil's advocate for Lil Tay, she is a legal adult. She can make her own decisions now, and maybe for one reason or another, financially starting an OnlyFans was the best thing she could do, or maybe she thought long and hard about it and decided this is where she wants her future to go. I personally think it's very gross to see, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to judge somebody else's life when I don't know anything that's happening, and especially when I don't know the particulars of their given situation. So while it is distasteful, it is unfortunately a decision that has become so normalized by society, I can't just go, among heaven and earth, you alone are the slut. Because it wouldn't be true. It's not that societal norms really excuse this, but my point still stands. Now, that is the main meat and potatoes. Allow me to take you to the filthier side of all this. Because as the business saying goes, where there's a seller, there's a buyer. I have significantly less questions for Lil Tay herself than the people who actually bought her OnlyFans subscription. Allow me to remind you, her whole brand was being a child. And although she's not now, dude, as soon as she turned 18, like, you literally can't make this shit up. On her 18th birthday. Listen, I'm not exactly an OnlyFans enthusiast, so I've asked Google, how much is it for an OnlyFans subscription? And for those of you saying, why didn't you just look at the page yourself? I am not that brave as a soldier. But Google tells me that it ranges from $5 to $50. So at the very least, that math tells us that there are 20,000 people that need their hard drives checked expeditiously. Like, it's crazy to me because I remember dogging on her when I was still a kid. And looking back on it, I only had like less than a year on her. I am now the same age as Lil Tay. So, excuse me if I think it is absolutely disgusting that people are paying for the nudes of somebody who is my exact same age. Like, she was a child at the exact same time that I was a child. And even more so, she was a public child influencer. Like, listen, say what you will about JoJo Siwa. I've certainly said my piece, but at the very least, she's not a porn star. Or at least not that I know of. If she was, I guess I wouldn't be entirely surprised, but to my knowledge, she's not. It is crazy that this needs to be said, but at some point, there just needs to be a line in the sand drawn when ex-child influencers can start selling their nudes as soon as they turn 18. Listen, I am generally of the mindset that good and evil are two sides of the same coin, and the happiest people set some boundaries and just try to live as themselves. But you have got to be fucking kidding me. This really isn't a matter of good and evil. It is just a matter of downright deplorable. So here, before the video ends, allow me to offer you some advice. Just because the entirety of society is saying that, hey, murder is okay, you should have the balls to say that, hey, murder is not okay. Like, it is okay to set standards and to set morals. You should have standards and morals because when you don't, this happens. You are smarter than this. I guarantee you, along with like 99% of the population, are smarter than this. Listen, sexualization is pumped into damn near everything because, as the saying goes, sex sells. So now more than ever, it is paramount to have some very explicit boundaries when it comes to stuff like this. So relax, set yourself some boundaries, and sit back as I read you some of these comments.
Please just let whatever's in there be a teaser for a new track, album, music video, or something related to music. Bunch of preds. Anything but getting a job. $1 million worth of people who need their hard drives checked. Please tell me this is a joke. Wow, everyone who bought it should be arrested for real. Yeah, if you're actually dropping adult content on there and not a new song, you're weird dropping a link to grown men who have been waiting for you to turn 18. I feel like that's not Lil Tay OnlyFans before GTA 6.
Okay, if you were here for Lil Tay drama, you're good to click off now. But if you are actually interested in my channel, then stick around for a second more. The unlucky block isn't really something that I plan out. If I see something, I say something. They just come out whenever. But I don't think I've actually ever told you guys that the ultimate tier lists come out on the first of the month and also halfway through the month, wherever that happens to fall. So I just wanted to say that before you guys go thinking that I don't publish long-form videos anymore. I do. It's just that they're kind of, they take a while to make. And yeah, I promise I'm not going to make that many unlucky block videos. They're not my favorite kind of video to make, but sometimes I see something and it just needs to be talked about. But thank God, there is nothing left to be said. So with that, I bid you peace, my friend.